Hi, this is Mr. Jarvis, and we're doing this is a video tutorial of the digital overlay abstract photo of yourself. Just a couple of things. We have backgrounds here for you to choose from. You can download one of these. Kind of finding that the standard pattern works best. Like this one might work well. The galaxy works really well. The aurora lights. If you're gonna search your own, make sure you follow that technique I showed you and look for large images. Make sure they're larger. The width is larger than 800 pixels, and I'll more on that later. I'm not going to dwell on that right now. Um, but so download a background, and you can just close this tab after you've done it, and then find a photo of yourself. And then when you do, I got permission from Miller to do this, so you could just click the download button, save it in your drive. I already did that, um, and then go into Photopea, click Open from Computer. It's going to be from your drive. Find the photo um, in your drive and open it up. Now we ran into a couple glitches. The first one being which I think was caused because this is we use a different layer as our background. So and this is named background. I think when a layer is named background on Photopea, it treats it a little bit differently. So I'm going to have you guys write your name here. All I did was double click it, and you can change the name of it. And then another glitch we found is we do need a background, and we need a white background. The way I showed you to do it might have been a little confusing. Here's a different way on Friday, but here's a different way. Down here on the bottom right, these tools are really important. There's a little trash can on the bottom right of your screen. There's a little picture of it. It looks like a little piece of paper. It's new layer, and then there's a folder. You can have a folder of layers. And then here it looks like a half moon here. And when you click on it, this is called the adjustment overlay. And there's a whole bunch of things we can do with this. We're going to use the threshold later, but for now we're going to use um, and I'd love for you to like experiment with these because they're really kind of nice. So we're going to do a color fill layer, and we want to choose white. It has to be white. So once again, let me do that one more time. Click on the half moon, color fill at the very top, and then click white and click OK. Now you'll notice I'm covered here. So you guys know from previous lessons you can move these layers down. And then I'm going to double click the color fill, and I'm going to call it background. I don't think that's too important, but it did mess things up when I had my own image here as the background. Now, I just clicked on myself, okay, or Miller. Make sure you're not on your background when you do the next step. Click on yourself, and make sure that you're selected. And then we're going to get rid of the background. And you guys know multiple ways you can use the lasso tool and just draw around. That's a little bit tough, but some people are quite good at it. If something's selected, always make sure you deselect it by going select, deselect, or Control D. And then you also have the option to use the magnetic lasso tool. You can select yourself, and then to delete the background, you can go inverse. But I'm finding with the green screen that the magic wand tool that I'm kind of circling right here works quite well. And then here's tolerance. If it's not selecting enough, you can raise the tolerance number by just typing it and hitting enter. And it'll select more of the screen. Make sure you're on yourself. But a word of caution, it's better to select not enough than too much. I really like how it got all the detail here. So I'm going to just stick with that, and I'm going to hold, but I need to select more. This bottom right's not selected because the color shading is a little bit different. I need to select more. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and select more areas. Little teeny spot here, that would be green. And here, and then make sure that the corners are all square. That one's not. I'll just click there and make it square. And when I press my backspace or delete key on the Chromebook, it should all go away. Oh, guess what? have a little spot here. So Control D or deselect, select, deselect, and then I'm going to grab this little green here and do the same thing and click delete. It's still selected, so I need to deselect it now. That's really important. So um, if you want, you can zoom in and kind of brush out the little green line here. You can get the eraser tool. Some people, you guys know how to zoom in, control plus sign. I'm not going to do that. I'm happy with the look. But now I'm going to open up whatever background I chose. But the background is really going to be the foreground in my new texture. So to get that, I download it to my drive. Then I select open in place. And I'm going to look for that galaxy. And for you, you're going to be in drive. And now it looks kind of small, but you can make it larger. Make sure you have the selector tool and transform controls. You can even like twirl it around 180 degrees. And I don't know if you can see that on the top. It's saying 180. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to enlarge it. Doesn't matter how much I enlarge it. And then if I enlarge it a lot, I'll have more options to move it around. I'll show that later. So now, really important, I need to drag this. Oh, no, I don't. I need to click on it, and I need to say normal. This is the layer type. It's normal. There's styles of layers. You can have a lighter layer or a really saturated layer. You can do effects to your layer here. Make sure that your background is selected. You have a background that's white. You have yourself that's cut out, and then click on your background. And from this drop down, you're going to select screen, and you're going to watch what happens. So this texture is now on Miller. And if I can move it around and see what I like best, that's kind of the advantage of making it larger. Now I need to click on Miller, and I'm gonna make him do the threshold technique. I'm gonna click on here, the adjustment overlayer of a threshold, and that's gonna give it its real abstract look. Threshold. Okay, now if this is covering something, you can click here. These are the tools. You can add more or less. It seems like it did a nice job there. Um, and then click it again. Now, if you want, you can click Galaxy and move that around more and see which effect you like or what gets you the best colors. I kind of like, I kind of like, I kind of like that. All right. Um, Make sure it's taking the whole screen though. You can even enlarge it a little bit. So it is. Oh, I didn't enlarge it. I make it taller. Okay. So I think that looks great. Now my next step, these are kind of optional steps. You'll notice in my class, a lot of people double themselves or they made multiple copies of themselves. So you can do that by two finger clicking and clicking duplicate layer. And then this was a little frustrating because it keeps going to the top layer. And I was a little frustrated. I finally figured out if I click on the anchor point, like I'm going to edit, then it'll let me move myself. So click on I clicked on my first Miller. Click on, now if I just move, it's moving that top part. It keeps defaulting to the top. To force it to stay on this layer, I click an anchor point. Seems like it's a little glitch in the program. I didn't notice that before. Now, if I want to double myself, I'm going to make a little bit smaller. But I want to keep that on the bottom. I'm going to do the same for this one. Click on an anchor point and maybe make it a little smaller and move it over. That one's a little too small. You can kind of eyeball. Whoops. Control Z is my best friend. Make it a little smaller and move it. But I do want it kind of the same size. And then once again, I can click Galaxy and move around and you'll see it's getting different shapes. And then the last thing I want us to do, click on Galaxy the top, is maybe add some text. So I'm going to click on the T tool. It's taking its time to load. Okay, pick a font. They might take a little time to load. And once you click your font, you might want to make it a little bigger. I recommend like somewhere in the 60s, and then click. Now it added a text layer at the top, and I'm going to write Miller. Okay, a couple things I can do with this. It's black by default. I'm going to switch from the T tool to the selector tool. The selector tool will let me kind of make it larger. The T tool will let me change its color. If I triple click it, select the whole thing. Here's where the color is. It's black. A lot of people can't find this because it's black on dark gray. But if I wanted to, I can make it like a, I don't know, pink. Control Z. Or a lime green or something like purple would, I think, fit a little bit better. I think that looks really cool. And if I have Miller selected, if I get here, other things I can do is have the text selector. The text selector, I can click warp. I'm on T, I get this option to warp it. And if I want to, I can click the down arrow and I can make it like an arc. And maybe a little less. And because I made it an arc, remember T and the selector tool, I can bring this down a little bit. Oh, I got to click OK. Bring it down a little bit. So other things I can do to my name is go down here where it says EFF, layer style, or go up here, layer, and layer style. And I'm a big fan of putting a drop shadow on. I've told you that before, but I'm going to go EFF down here and select drop shadow. And I can move the tool around, and I can change the direction of the drop shadow if I want. Okay, by clicking this little angle thing. I can change the color of it if I want. I can make it further away or closer where it says distance, and I think that looks pretty cool. I can add other things. A stroke is simply an outline, and that really makes it pop. And you can bevel. You can experiment with these. If I click on it, the bevel emboss, that looks really cool. Kind of gives it a 3D look. So you click on something. Okay, don't really like that. So if I don't like the satin, I uncheck it. If I don't like I can do a color overlay of black. I don't want that. I uncheck that. But I do like the stroke. See, that really makes it pop. Okay, there we have it. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is save it two ways. Just save the project. Save as PSD, or if you click save, it'll default. File, save as PSD. And then PSD is a Photoshop file. And then what I need to get from you is a JPEG of this, or PNG, it doesn't matter. So to do that, you have to export it as, and you can just go PNG and click save and call it your name. And then go into Google Classroom. Mine looks different than yours. Click view instructions and add to and select file. I don't have that here. I can't do that. Mine's different, but I'm happy to help you with that if you need it. So hopefully that helps. And I think this looks really cool. You don't have to do the double images. It looks cool. It's going to be our new door decoration. You can add other clip art if you want. Just, find it, open, or you can draw something. Okay, I'm getting a little off task here, but if you click here, custom shape, maybe I'll put a star or something. Oh, that's taking a little bit to load. Oh, right when it loaded, I star and I have like a little triangle. So shape. All right. Custom shape. And I have star. Whoops. So you can do, there's a ton of things you can find here. So I'm just going to grab this. Yeah, I can put that on there, make it purple or something. You're probably not going to do that. Or better yet, just leave it as it is. File, export as PNG, save. Make sure you have a name for it, proper name. Usually your name, project or something, so this is the one you're going to turn in. Maybe turn in. And you got it. There it is. I think this looks great.